Hello, everyone. I'm back and I'm joined, as always, when we talk about Star Wars by Shayla Brown. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been crazy. I've not made a podcast in or any sort of recorded content in weeks. Um, so I might be a bit rusty, but this is always a good way to get back into it, talk about
Yeah,
Star Wars.
yeah. New show.
Yeah. And I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit about Tales of the Empire first? Because I know we didn't
Sure.
actually talk about that.
I mean, sure, it's been a while since I've seen it, but we
It's been a
can.
while since I've seen it too, but
Yeah.
we can just pretend that we just saw it or that we remember any of it. And
Yeah.
I mean, what were your, I guess very quickly, what were your overall impressions of it? Did it exceed your expectations?
It did. I think I enjoyed the Barris Offee story a little bit more than the Morgan Elsbeth story.
Agreed.
I don't know. It really did something for me, and was actually surprised. I wasn't expecting to be so emotionally invested to the Barasafi story, but like it actually made me cry, and I was surprised. And I'm gonna give credit where credit is due, and that is entirely due to the Kiner family, who does the music for the animated shows, because their scoring and like even in these shorts were fantastic and like really pulled at something emotionally, especially in the last episode. Like I don't know, there was a scene where she was getting out of the cage, and it was
Hmm.
beautiful and haunting and sad, and the music was just right there with it, and it made me cry, so I was shocked.
Well, the entire thing, I think, like the cave stuff, right, with the mirror and all that, like that ending was just fantastic. I agree
Mhm.
with generally what you're saying. I expected to hate her, and I didn't because when he ended Clone Wars, you hated her, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was good. It was a good redemption arc, I think. It sucks that she doesn't actually like. It's funny because like all the speculation had been, every time there's a new Inquisitor's like, this is her, and you know, now we found out what happened. It was good closure, I think.
Yeah, she was inquisitor for like a day and then said, no, I'm out.
And honestly, credit to her. You know what? She
Yeah,
could have
good for
easily just.
her.
And credit to Star Wars, for deciding, we could do the easy thing and say, yeah, she's an Inquisitor, she's evil. But instead, they said, no, you know what? We're gonna let her redeem herself because she was like, I still believe she was always like, she was a Jedi at heart. She was never a
Mhm.
bad guy. She did some stupid things and probably betrayed some people, but she was, I feel like, a Jedi at heart to some extent the entire time. Like it wasn't like an Anakin type, complete rejection of the principles of being a Jedi.
Yeah, it's just that she saw the corruption that was going on in the Republic and did something about it, and that something was very questionably done. And you could have used your brain a little bit, but like she was also like, I'm assuming, like a teenager when she did that. Like she wasn't like a wise Jedi. She was, acting out of probably fear. Um,
And by the
and she
way, Luke
quickly learned.
Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker both act out of fear often.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
You know,
so yeah,
Mace Windu acts out of fear too.
Mace Windu. Yeah, does he?
Lots of Jedi act out of fear.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is like she wasn't wrong technically.
No, she wasn't. And that's the worst part about it is that she went about it like bombing the Jedi Temple wasn't a smart thing to do to
No,
get your
very bad
point
thing to do.
across. To get your try and get your point across, but your point was correct, and you did see the what was going on.
Speaking of people with foresight, let's move over to the Acolyte because that's another case where I think we're gonna maybe we'll agree on this one, but I think there's some bad guys who might actually be good guys in this case, trying to do some really good things here. So, so what were your? Let's start with this. What were your expectations going into the show?
I didn't really have many, because I'm not very familiar with the Hieroglyph. I mean, I am reading the
You're more familiar
Hieroglyphic.
than most people. Like, don't give yourself credit for that one.
Okay, fair. But like I didn't want to set high expectations going into the show, because like for every Star Wars project it brings a completely different thing, and whether I'm going to enjoy it or not really does like just depend on what it does. And it doesn't mean that if I don't enjoy it that the project is bad. It just means that like it's just not my thing personally. So I really didn't want to set many expectations going into it. Um That being said, I did enjoy a lot of the characters that we were introduced to in these first two episodes. I think they're all really fun and exciting and really charming. And I think like on Star Wars Twitter, the like Amanda
Hmm.
Denver playing twins was like a speculation theory. I did not see it, and I did not expect to like that plot twist at all, and it completely like threw me for a loop, which I was impressed.
I still have a crazy conspiracy theory, but we'll go into that one in a minute. Maybe it's because I'm not going to accept that was wrong. But like, this is the thing. I think we both agree, generally speaking, there's no such thing as bad Star Wars. There's just like amazing Star Wars, and there's less amazing Star Wars, right? But it's all good.
Yeah,
And
and it's all
I,
relative
I
to who like person to person.
and compared to the average, TV show or movie, I would argue everything Star Wars has made has been above that line, because even if, again, if it's not amazing and it's top tier, it's every I don't think I've ever seen something Star Wars was like, this is unwatchable,
Yeah.
right?
No, I don't think I've ever.
Like, I think we both find entertainment in basically all things Star Wars, be
Yeah.
that the books, be that the TV shows, be that the movies. Like, we agree and disagree on aspects of that and how much we like something, but we like pretty much everything in that sense.
Yeah.
I think with this show, I was excited because I have this bias with Star Wars, though. I do like lightsabers
Yes, I
and I
noticed a
like
bit.
Jedi.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this a few times, especially the Bad Batch, which,
Mhm.
really pushed on that frustration of there being like minimal to no lightsabers and Jedi involved.
Mhm.
And my every time I'd come on and, be like, why isn't Omega a Jedi using the Force yet? I really want a Jedi in this show. But that being said, this was a Jedi show, right? We knew that's what it was going to be.
Mhm.
And I was very, very excited to see what it was going to be in that sense. I was also nervous because you could really screw this up and do it cheap and just end it, and it could just not work well.
Mhm.
Now, on the other hand, now it turns out it's actually not that bad. I will have some criticisms, but it's pretty good through two episodes.
Yeah, and speaking of lightsabers, I enjoy how we get to see like in this era of the High Republic, the Jedi who will not pull their lightsabers until it becomes absolutely necessary versus the dichotomy of the other Jedi who will pull out their lightsaber at the first sign of danger. Because I feel like in the prequel era, it was just common that once there's something, they're pulling out their lightsabers. But these Jedi, we see like they are in their era of like peace, even if the peace is imagined. We see that they really try everything else to resolve conflict before they even pull out their lightsabers, especially Master Soul with that fight with May in episode 2. Like I don't think he pulled out his lightsaber at all, which was so
No.
impressive to show his abilities with the Force, and I thought that was really cool.
Well, and the other thing is the bad guys don't use weapons. Or, well, I guess generally their philosophy, they don't use weapons, right? And I
Mhm.
think that is, again, something which you're right. Like, we aren't seeing them in their general stage, right? Because that's what they were pretty much. You look at the Clone Wars TV show, you look at the prequels, kind of generally that era. That was an era of war, right? And then
Mhm.
obviously after that, still consistent war against either the Empire or against whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah,
This is different. This is an era of, this is the golden age of the Jedi, right? This is
yeah.
before the evil corruption and all that other stuff, right?
Hmm.
Now, there's a few. Okay, do you want to do the criticisms first, or do you want to talk about the good stuff? I think we should end on the good stuff.
Sure, let's do criticism first.
Okay. So I have one thing I need to ask you.
Okay.
With this, so at the very beginning of and spoilers, by the way, I guess if people don't know that at this point. So at the beginning of this show,
Mhm.
there's a fight
Yeah.
between who we think is May and, or sorry, who we think is O'Shea, right? I'm not mixing the two up.
Uh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
The
we
the
really
bad
know.
one, the
Yeah,
bad twin.
May is the bad one.
May's the bad one, right? So it is
Yes.
May. We don't think it's May. We think it's the other one.
Yeah.
Um, and this Jedi Master who's played by a Canadian legend. Now, Carrie Ann Moss. I don't remember what the Jedi name was, but
Indira something.
Indira. That's correct. Now she dies,
Mhm.
but she dies because, and I don't know how well the audio description did for this one, but she dies because she gets stabbed by a knife, okay,
Yes.
or a dagger or something.
Yeah.
Now she does, and this happens when she is apparently, well, when she is using the force to stop another knife, and she just wasn't paying attention, and so it stabbed her. Now, my issue with this is we've seen a lot of Jedi, right? A lot of things with Jedi.
Mhm.
It's never been the case where if your hand isn't pointing at it, you don't know what's happening, right? Like that's the opposite of what the force is, right?
Mhm.
You shouldn't just get stabbed by a dagger because oh, I was looking and pointing my hand this way.
Yeah, I would imagine that, like, I don't know, there would be some sort of danger sense that tells you to just fucking move. Like,
What's called the force. That's what it is, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
we've seen people use the force without using their hands.
yeah.
In the show, we've seen it.
And we've seen Kanan using it without his eyes. So,
Well, that's the point, right? Like there's been many blind Jedi.
yeah,
Weird, strange number of them too. Like um, because you don't need your eyes to be a Jedi. That's the
yeah.
whole thing, right? It's the Force is is the sensing. Even in Rogue One, the guy, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
remember his
the
name
guy.
anymore.
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was he wasn't blind and he was a Force monk or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
So why is it the case where you have some Jedi dying, who Jedi Master dying because she didn't see the night? Like that just annoyed me endlessly, and it was a bad way to start the show because I feel like that's against everything we know about the Force and the Jedi and how they use it.
Mhm.
I don't know what you thought. I don't know how well the audio description did of doing that either. So
The audio description for this show has been pretty good. They usually generally are for the live action shows. Like when there are like little mistakes in the animated shows, but like in the live action ones, the audio description is usually pretty top tier.
so then what do you think about the fact that she dies just like without because she just didn't see it? Like
Um, I didn't really think too hard about that, but I did kind of laugh and think, "Oh God, are we gonna have like the toxic fans being like, oh my God, she died by a knife." But Sabine Wren survived getting stabbed with a lightsaber, and like it's like, y'all are so funny for like pointing out inconsistencies sometimes because it's like, please stop.
well, also one like we got to understand the medium is different, right? Like animated. Oh wait, I guess that was the live action show. Anyways, ignore me there. But like, also people complain about that, so they should be happy that they're getting this now.
Yeah, yeah. So like, see, someone actually does die. I was like, see, Qui-Gon Jinn, you have a friend.
Well, I mean, look, she probably like I just can't like I think Jedi should be like you should be able to sense it even if like with Obi-Wan, right? And in A New Hope, right? Where he
Mhm,
dies.
mhm,
He kind of you could kind of say okay, he wanted to. Even Qui-Gon, like it's like he kind of knew it was going to happen, right? And he's
mhm,
kind of accepted it.
mhm,
And that's kind of when Jedi typically are at their weakest is when they kind of see this is what needs to be done, right?
mhm,
Because
mhm,
it's not like they're just going to accidentally die. They're either going
mhm,
to lose in battle, right, and just get overwhelmed by force. You saw that often with Grievous and people like that, or they're going to know this is what needs to happen. So I'm willing to die, right?
mhm.
It again, we didn't know enough about her, but I didn't feel it felt like oh, oopsies, I just didn't see that coming, and that doesn't sound like a Jedi Master. That's just a Jedi Master.
Yeah,
I don't know. That bugged me a lot, but you know, I will hold reserve judgment because maybe there is an explanation.
yeah, maybe.
But, you know, I did not love that part. Anyways, the other thing I wanted to and I'll let you give some criticisms in a minute, but the other one I wanted to kind of talk about was I understand that she is being trained May is being trained, okay?
Mhm,
I am aware of this, so I want everyone to understand that I understand she's being trained. Okay. Now, with that being said, I don't believe that she, without weapons, should stand a chance against any Jedi, and Jedi should not, no matter how guilty they feel obligated to drink a vial of poison when they are clearly more powerful than her.
yeah.
Are we all good? We're on the same page there.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird.
Like, I don't care how guilty you are. If someone says drink this or else, or you're gonna feel guilty forever or whatever, don't think you do that as a Jedi. Also, can no one use the Force, because you should be able to tell that it's not her, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They're not clones. They're different people.
they're
Again, I don't
twins.
know what the Force is, but I think it can help you with this stuff.
Yeah.
Also, didn't she try to kill him like a day ago, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna drink your poison. Good idea."
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's like, I think it's just ridiculous. Anyways, now besides the fact that the two Jedi Masters she killed were big babies about it, um, I thought the show was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
Though I don't know. Do you have any criticism you want to throw out there?
My main criticism, I don't even know if this is a criticism, but like Vernestra Rao is such a beloved High Republic character, and I have granted only read one book with her in it. But man, in this show, is she really just making me mad? Because she's just like, oh yeah, there's a problem with like Jedi being killed. We're gonna make some fucking council meetings. Like, are you stupid? And I get that this is to show how the Jedi Council is kind of becoming incompetent, which I don't know if I've ever seen an era where they have been useful. Um, but like it really just pissed me off. I was like, you're gonna make him go to council meetings rather than actually pursuing the problem. That is so stupid, and it pissed me off.
Well, I mean, I like it, and no, the reason I like it is because I'm also a little bit of a nerd in this sense, and what I mean by that is I think that showing the fact that these that this basically semi-governmental at this point organization is very highly political in terms of getting anything done. I
Mhm,
think that is a very good thing when it comes to showing it throughout Star Wars, right? Because Star Wars has this tendency to have this, bureaucracy is bad type, you know, vibe to it, right? Whenever you show, the for episode 1, you have the Trade Federation and all the things that go wrong with that, right? You have
mhm,
Bloodline, which is after the Empire, right? Where you see this, right? Like this idea of over bureaucratization of galactic enforcement of politics and enforcement. I
mhm,
think it's very telling, right? And that's why you have these Jedi who have to go rogue. That's why, in Rogue One, you see this, right? You
mhm,
see these
mhm,
people who go rogue. You see this consistently, right? These rebels, these people who are going to be outsiders to the cause because you can't get anything done inside the system, right?
mhm, mhm.
I think it works. I know why you hate it, and I agree with you in terms of like
Yeah.
character wise.
Yeah, I think it works. It's just like, man, this isn't the greatest character introduction for Vernestra Rao because, like, she's so beloved, I think, by like people in the High Republic fandom. And right now, I'm just like, man, why are you doing this?
Yeah, and again, I think let's see how it goes. Like, because I think we're also very early on in the show and
Yeah,
very early on in the live action version of the High Republic. So I'm
definitely.
willing to give it a little bit of time to kind of just see, how it unfolds.
Hmm.
But I do agree with you generally. Like, I think that was funny.
Yeah,
And I think it's kind of interesting that that's
yeah,
the approach.
yeah.
Now, let's talk about some good things with this show because there's a lot of good things.
Mhm.
What do you want to? I'll let you start here.
I really like how we get to see so many young Jedi and Padawans being played by actual children. Because yes, I guess we do see that in the Clone Wars, but like it's not as easily represented through the voice. And for me, especially as a visually impaired person, getting to hear actual children speaking as Jedi younglings and Padawans, I really love Jackie. It's really like it's a really great reminder that like these Jedi are like these Padawans aren't like superhumans. They're actually very, I mean they are, but like they're very young and like but they're also like super badass. So it's like it's cool to see that because I feel like we don't get a fair representation of it in the Clone Wars. And like I only feel like we recently got to see the truth of it in live action Ahsoka.
Well, no. We did get to see a lot of kids when Anakin murdered them all in episode 3.
Yeah, okay.
Don't, but that they just don't forget about that part,
Yeah,
the
I of course not.
we did get to see a lot of kids. Now, granted, they all died,
Die.
but they were there technically.
Yeah. It's just nice to see them actually getting to live.
Yeah, that is fair. Um, Now let's see if they die. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
Still a lot of long show to go. But
Yeah.
I think it was. I think you're right. I think that was good. Um, I think Daphne Keane, by the way, is doing an incredible job in that role.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm
She
really
was
enjoying
she's
that character.
Yeah, she's great. I'm glad that she's getting on. Hopefully, she doesn't die because that would be unfortunate.
I hope.
But I don't think they're going to kill off a lot of people in the show because there's like so much time and to explore them.
Yeah.
So I do like that. It is like an interesting thing. You don't realize that there's not that many kids in Star Wars because the majority of the people who they focus on are all super old when they become Jedi,
Mhm. Mhm.
which is, by the way, very bad. I think according to what the rules of being a Jedi are, right?
Yeah.
But yet they're all like Ezra started at an older age. Sabine technically started at a really old age. Um, you know, May or Osha or whatever, whichever one is the good one, started at a really old age.
Mhm.
It's a lot of really old Jedi. Luke started at a really old age.
Mhm.
Anakin started at a really old age. So technically,
Yeah.
But that is true. That is a good point.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that I found interesting, I want to know what your thoughts on this were as well, but what do you think about the story here, right? With this idea of revenge? Because you start with this, they kind of just throw you right into this revenge story. I don't think we see or hear about any of the actual specifics of what happened to their village. Or
Mhm.
like we know generally, there was a fire started.
Mhm.
We
And her
know.
sister apparently started the fire.
Right, and that her sister apparently died, but we don't know any other details, right? We don't
Mhm.
know why or how or why these people who apparently were trying to do good things in theory are not, um, like are in getting in, basically like they're being hunted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even why May believes that her sister's dead,
Mhm.
right? Because that's what she believed up
Mhm.
until the end of the second episode.
Mhm.
So I think that's it. Like, I don't know. Like, how do you feel about that? Because it's weird to get thrown into the middle of a revenge story in Star Wars, it feels like.
Yeah, it's weird to not know the context. Cause I
Or to
feel
know
like I would have
anything, really.
I feel like I would have more empathy for May if I did have context, which I don't. And maybe that's the point. But it's weird.
Like, I just because, like, of all the kind of stories that you get told in Star Wars, right? And you go through all the shows as well, right?
Mhm.
Revenge has never been one of the things that they told because that's against the Jedi, and it's not really a good guy thing, so you don't really see that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Justice, sure, but not revenge like this. And so it's interesting. And then I do like the fact that you're getting to see this more functional version of the Jedi
Mhm.
going through this, right? Saying, "Oh wow, there's bad people who don't like us. We're not
Yeah.
used to this."
It's like what a
Like,
shocker. Oh
which
baby,
is
wait until
crazy.
the prequels.
Oh yeah, just wait till it gets real.
Yeah.
But now the other part of this, and I'm gonna go crazy conspiracy here. Are we sure that they're sisters?
I mean, we've been given no other reason to suggest that they aren't.
Okay, but what if we have been? So at the very beginning of the show, right, very early on,
Mhm.
O'Shea sees like or hears voices of her sister, right? And she
Mhm.
gets that vision and whatever, right? I think it was in the
Mhm.
first episode. Now, what if it is the case that like, and this has happened in Star Wars, so I know it's possible, but like the evil part of her, right? The evil revenge seeking part of her kind
Mhm.
of tore off and took the form of her sister almost. You know what I mean?
That'd be interesting.
Because we've seen that happen where like, if you're the bad part of you, and I don't remember where we've seen that happen, but we've definitely seen it happen where the bad part of you basically manifests itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
in the form of someone you know. I think it happened in on that planet with the brother and the sister and the father
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with Anakin, right? Or Ahsoka or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes. With Ahsoka, I think.
Yeah. So what if that's like what they're doing here? What if like her sister did die, but this is just like some manifestation type thing?
I mean, that would be interesting.
I think that'd be so much cooler than, oh yeah, the twins just alive and trained by an evil guy.
Yeah.
Because they didn't show the master. What if the master is just her?
I mean, but we did hear his voice.
Yeah, you can voice modulate, it's if it is like a mental thing, then the voice can sound like whatever you want it to sound like, doesn't change. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It's not a very strong theory, but I also don't like, I feel like it'd be so much fun if it was true.
Yeah,
And
it's
my
fun.
early theory was that they're the same person, so I'm just kind of sticking with that
Mm-hmm.
until I'm proven definitively wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look, I just like the idea. That would just be very funny if it's like, yeah, the evil part of her just kind of, you know, inhabited, I guess, her sister's form.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way, like, it just bugs me that this person is so powerful. Because also, you're talking about two sisters both being having the force. This
Mm-hmm.
again, like, we're talking about odds here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what those odds are, but being able to both use the force effectively. Now, I guess we don't know if O'Shea can use the force effectively, but we're assuming she can. And
I think we saw that she's not very good with it. Remember when she's on the ship and she's trying to grab her droid, but it's not coming towards her?
but that could be because or the claim I think they made in the show is she's out of practice. She hasn't done it in 6 years,
True.
right?
True.
So I think, and she was a Jedi, which means she was clearly seen as someone who was strong enough in the Force at that old of an age to be taken to be trained, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and if we use midichlorian counts as like the reference point for that, she must have had a high count, right? But then if her sister is this good, again, I don't know what the odds are on that, but it feels very weird that two twins are both really good at using the Force in theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just I don't know if I like that very much. Because again, it's not like it runs in the family type thing, generally.
It depends what kind of twins they are.
Because like Luke and Leia aren't equally as good at using the Force, although we saw a little bit of Leia's ability to use the Force. It's very minimal,
Yeah.
right? And they're twins.
It's an entirely genetic thing, I guess.
Like I feel like it's more random than most genes you would say are like would be, right? Because like I don't think there is a Force gene. I think it's just, you know, like it is a little bit more random because you see people who like with Ahsoka and a lot of the young kids who were captured, early on by the Empire, right? Like we saw that in the Bad Batch, the Clone Wars,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Their parents didn't seem to be Force users of any sort,
Yeah.
right? So you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Leia,
Maybe
Leia
I'm going
and
crazy, but
Leia and Luke were also, and I'm a twin, so I know. Leia and Luke were also fraternal twins, and identical twins, which I'm assuming May and Osha are genetically closer.
yeah, I guess I just don't buy the fact that for the ability to use the Force is a genetic thing, like necessarily. Because
Mm,
you see family members, it doesn't because like we see so many people who don't have force using parents, right? Who can use the force or who are
yeah,
Jedi,
yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Again, maybe I'm just crazy here, but I I don't know if that's like a likely because I'm trying to think of any other siblings in Star Wars where it's like, and again, I know it's not the same, but like it's similar, right, to some extent.
Hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. Can you think of any siblings in Star Wars who
Um, I feel like,
I feel like
I
there are
feel like,
people who I'm not thinking of.
yeah, I think Depa Balaba might have had a sister who was a
Was
Jedi,
she
but
a
I don't
force
remember.
user?
I don't remember.
Oh, I can just look it up. Hold on. Let me look up
I don't.
siblings in Star Wars. I forgot the internet exists. Because, like, siblings in Star Wars. So Sabine and her brother.
Mhm.
Her brother can't use the Force.
No.
Oh yeah, Darth Maul's family can all use the Force.
Right.
Rose and Paige. No, that's not helpful. I don't think either of them can use the Force.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are some. Okay, you know what? I will get, now that I've seen that list and like I see a few people who can use the Force. I'm like, okay, fine. I will give you that. I will grant you the fact that they can both use the Force. But either way, I would think it'd be cool if they were like not, you know.
The same. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I mean, do you want? I want to talk a little bit about what they're going to do with the rest of these episodes. But do you have anything else you want to say about the first two?
No, I'm just excited to see the next one.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a look at a
Oh, okay.
Wookiee Jedi Master.
That's right.
Now, in theory, based on the way this is going, this girl without the weapons is going to kill the Wookiee Jedi Master. Do we believe that is possible, no matter how she does it?
I think she's gonna have to get really fucking creative to do it.
Like, I just don't know. I find it very hard to see like how she's gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
She's not that talented. She shouldn't be that talented.
No.
Now, the one thing is, and they do seem very guilty. So I guess that might play into it because apparently these people have all been deeply, and I really want to know what they did that was so awful that, you know, one of them took a vow of silence and then drank poison willingly to be free. One, I guess maybe just let herself get stabbed. The other one now potentially could do something like basically isolated herself on a planet.
Mhm.
Like they clearly did something bad.
Yeah. I want to know what it is.
Oh, you know what it might be?
What?
What if they killed her or tried to kill her?
I mean, maybe. If she was the one who started the fire, that shows like some dark intent, and it would be safer to let her
What
do
if they tried to
that.
kill both of them?
Both of them.
Because think about it. May believes that O'Shea was dead, right? That's what she believed.
Hmm.
She's probably told that, to be fair, but she had some reason to kind of believe it,
Hmm.
right? And May and O'Shea thought May was dead, right?
Hmm.
They both thought each other were dead,
Hmm.
and they both went down their different paths. What if it was the case that like the group of Jedi who were there didn't know who started the fire because they look the same, right?
Hmm.
And they both have this kind of similar demeanor, and I'm assuming as babies they probably did too, right?
Hmm.
What if they tried to kill both of them, right?
Hmm.
And it just did it, and then like the I don't remember the other guy's name, the guy who seems like he's
Yeah.
the good guy in this.
So, yeah.
Yes, what if he kind of like, I guess, saved O'Shea,
Yeah.
but
Maybe he
obviously
was
made
able to sense that she wasn't evil.
right, like kind of what he did when they thought she was a criminal, right?
Hmm.
And then he kind of like, but then to May, whatever happened made it seem like, you know, her sister was dead, and then to OJ, obviously that's they thought they actually killed May, right?
Hmm. Hmm. That'd be
That would be a
interesting.
very interesting. That would be interesting, right? Because then presumably, if we're not assuming my crazy theory is true, that means that May was saved by the evil person, who we will, you know, figure out who that is specifically,
Hmm.
but was saved by the same person, probably to some extent kept, you know, the evil thing where like I think Darth Maul, this happened to Darth Maul, right, where he was kept alive by his anger
Hmm.
after his like legs were chopped off
Hmm.
in episode 1 by
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. His anger,
Yeah.
his hatred for Obi-Wan kept him alive.
Hmm.
So what if it's the case that like that is the like that was the thing and then she was saved, right? And but she was kind of told these lies, like again what Palpatine did to Anakin,
Hmm.
right? Is he
Yeah.
told him the lies of like, you know, Obi-Wan killed, I think she said Obi-Wan killed um Padme, right? I think that was what he said.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And made Anakin kind of believe it, right? Made Anakin
Mhm.
believe, like, and obviously he tried to do that to Luke in the the
Return
episode
of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Thank you. I don't know why that slipped in my mind. And but like what like that would be a very plausible, I think, thing that would be the case. It'd be very fun too,
Mhm.
because it seems like she's misguided. May's get misguided. I don't think she's like she doesn't seem evil. That's like
Yeah.
killing a
No.
Jedi.
No. Yeah.
Now, who do you think the master is?
I have no idea.
But like, I guess, what do you think his affiliation is? Do you think he's a Jedi, a former Jedi? Do you think he's an outside actor? Do you think he's like?
I think it'd be interesting if he was a former Jedi.
I feel like you get too many of those though.
True.
I think we need like kind of taking what the High Republic through the books at least have done, right, with their bad guys.
Mhm.
I think he needs to be like someone who's against this idea, like this misuse of the Force, because I love this that concept, right, of
Mhm.
like the Jedi use the Force wrong. They use it as like this because he's against weapons, which
Mhm.
means he clearly believes to some extent that the Jedi are misusing the Force, and we see this. So again, the entirety of the what we've seen from the High Republic villains so far is this idea of we don't like this. The Jedi are using the Force wrong. The Jedi are the bad guys here. They're the ones, the aggressors, right?
Mhm.
I would be. I think my hunch is probably if they keep the pattern that this idea of like the Jedi should not be allowed, like they're kind of they're tainting the Force, right? And they're using the Force for their own evil deeds, and again, kind of prophesizing the reality of what the Jedi Order becomes. But at the time, it doesn't seem as accurate. But it would be
Mhm.
like I think that's probably where they end up going. I would assume.
Mhm.
Would you be fine with that? Would that be something you'd be
Yeah.
fine with?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Now, for the last few episodes, last bunch of episodes, we'll keep doing this, but like for the next few episodes, what do you think? What is the one thing you do want to see? Either cameo or just general thing you want to see?
Um, I think it would be cool, like if they do end up going to a council meeting, if we got to see Yoda.
That's what I was gonna say. My answer is gonna be Yoda. I
I
want to
kind of
see
want
Yoda.
to see him.
I want Puppet Yoda.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd look like Grogu at this point, but I'd be okay with that because Grogu's like what, 100 years old,
50.
50. Okay,
Yeah. I think
so
Yoda would
maybe
still be an adult, but like not as old, maybe.
so he'd be like more middle aged
Yeah.
or a teenager.
I think he'd still be a little bit more middle aged because this is just 100 years before the prequels, but like maybe a little bit more agile. Maybe he doesn't have a cane yet. I don't know. Well, maybe he still uses a cane because I think he just uses that because he's so short.
I mean, well, he's also. I feel like it'd be funny if he was like a teenager type thing, right?
That
Because
would
I
be
think
fun.
that like age wise, 100 years, be we said being like in 50 years from the end of this show, right? I guess because you'd be 50 years from the prequels starting. He's kind of in his like adult phase, right? That would make
Mhm.
sense, kind of from again roughly years,
But
right?
isn't Yoda like 900 in the prequels?
I thought he died at like 300.
I thought he was like 900.
Let me look up Yoda's age in the
I'm
prequels
pretty
because
sure
I know
Plo
he.
Koon is like 200, 300.
What? No.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 800 when. Oh wait, in when the original trilogy begins. So he's
He was like 700 in the prequels.
864.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I was really missed that. I really missed thought that. So he'd be set in his 700s.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
then, yeah, he would probably. You're right. He would. Yeah, Grogu's 50. Okay, so never mind. I'm wrong. That's not going to be how they're going to. It would be funny if they did, but they're not going to do that. Yoda is going to be because Yoda, I guess, in the books, or sorry, in the High Republic, what we've seen of it, he is actually old.
Hmm.
So I should have that should also tip me off because we know
Okay.
he's. But anyways, yeah, I mean that was cool. Now let's do MVPs because we haven't done that in a while.
Right.
Do you have one for the first two episodes? We can do either. You can do kind of two, I guess, collectively
Okay.
for the first two.
Okay. Um, I am gonna choose um the twins. I don't know if we would count them as one or two entities, but
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna make a rule now because I just to prevent this from happening. You're allowed
mhm,
to choose one of them.
okay. I'm gonna say Osha then, just because I feel like we've seen more of her character. Um, and also just like Amanda Stenver is doing brilliantly, and it's so cool to see her, um, or them all grown up now because like I saw them in the Hunger Games when they were like 12. So it's just cool to see them still like grown up and doing this and doing an amazing job at it. Um, and my second MVP is Master Soul, because I think it's really cool how they have an actor who is a Korean speaker, I believe, and who's like still learning English, I think, to play this character. And I think that was just really cool and probably really intentional and has like a reason for it. Like, I don't know, just as an actor, I think that's really interesting.
Well, because not all Jedi have to be, you know, have to have an American accent because they live in space. As much as
Hmm.
people may not like that on the
Yeah,
internet, as we know, because they
yeah,
believe that all aliens have to look exactly the same, sound exactly the same.
yeah,
But yeah, obviously, it's not true.
yeah.
So that's interesting. Now I'm going to take the other twin because I think
Cool.
she's shown more. I don't know. I've liked her character more, to be honest.
Hmm.
I like Meg's character more, to be honest. Um, I kind of, yeah, all the things you said just about the other one.
Yeah, it's
Great,
fair.
they just great, very well acted. The other person I'm going to take, and I wasn't sure about this one. I'm going to take Yord. I take Yord for one reason. Okay,
Hmm.
the what he did, and I think this really speaks to his character. Okay, he kind of like they're giving him side eye, whatever. He was told, "Don't let your fear rule you," whatever. He's kind of seen as this like weird character, right?
Hmm.
I give him a lot of credit for what he did when they found that Jedi Master who was meditating and died pathetically. Um,
Hmm.
when because they all obviously accused O'Shea of doing it, right?
Hmm.
But then what happened was, or OSHA of doing it. Sorry, it's OSHA. Um, but what happened was he said, "No, I saw her. It wasn't her."
Hmm.
And I give him a lot of credit because that is like the most immediate growth that I've seen from a character. But it's so positive that it's a really good example of someone literally taking the lesson that they learned from their master and applying it right away. Right.
Hmm.
I just think that is something you don't see enough, and I am very um, and I'm just honestly very happy that we got to see that.
Hmm.
I don't know. I know it's kind of a weird one, but
No, it's cool.
I think I think that's like because like you think about the beginning of that episode, he was like, or the beginning of episode one, he was really like, I don't know about this. I don't know. Do we trust her? Are we really sure we should bring her here? She's kind of a prisoner, right?
Hmm.
But then he's told, look, don't be ruled by your fear. He sees a bunch of things from her where it's like, you know what? This girl knows what she's doing a little bit. Like, she's not clearly not guilty. He saw the evidence that there was someone else, right?
Hmm.
And even any suspicion that he had, and there was, but because he didn't actually see her,
Mhm.
he saw her go ahead of him. He didn't see what she did,
Yeah.
right? But he trusted her, and that, I think, again, that is something which you don't see enough. Is these Jedi not? And also, I think generally it's really nice to see Jedi not being ruled by fear, because that's kind of the entirety of their thing going into the prequels, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we were
Yeah.
talking about before. Is like they're constantly scared that someone's going to hurt them,
Mhm.
and it's, granted, very justified, but it's nice to see Jedi who still are able to be optimistic and say, "I see the good in you," right? And that being a
Yeah.
consensus thing, even if you are scared.
Yeah.
Because like after Qui-Gon dies, that's the end of "I can see the good in you" type vibes, pretty much, from the Jedi,
Mhm.
right? Like he was the that last person to really say, "I can see the good in someone." After that, it's a
Yeah.
bunch of villainizing people and saying, "Evil, evil, evil," right? So I
Yeah.
think, look, kind of a funny reason to do it, but I think he deserves some love, and also we haven't talked about his character at all, and so I thought that was, you know,
Yeah.
I think it was worth it. Good.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, thank you all for watching. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say about the show?
Nope. Not yet.
So we will be back next week, or well, I guess technically the episode comes out tomorrow. So we'll be back at some point before the next episode comes out.
Yeah.
Not the one tomorrow. The one after that. I don't know
Yeah.
when. We'll figure that out. But um, yeah, you can subscribe if you like hearing us talk about Star Wars or the other things that I talk about on this platform. Um, yeah, and social media and all that stuff. I don't know. I haven't done an outro in a long time, but yeah, do all that stuff and um, share with your friends. I guess I don't know. I don't remember what I used to say, but do you have anything you want to say before everyone turns it off?
No, I'll see you guys later. I'm excited to keep going with this.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, let us know what you think of the show in the comments or on social media or whatever. Okay, bye.
Bye.